And hello, everyone. Welcome to Fabricademy 2025-26 Final Projects Presentations, Day 3. We have already seen quite a few diverse projects. Today we have a selection of projects, and we have together with us as our invited jury. Welcome to Fabricademy 20. Our invited jury, Troy Nachtigall. He has been accompanying us as an advisor and a mentor since 9 years now. He has vast experience into digitization, digital fashion, fabrication, even making textile ecosystems in the Netherlands at HVA. Currently in different European projects. So we can start already. You will have the timer with Claudia. So make sure that when you hear the little song sound that you are wrapping up if you haven't finished already. And we can start. I think the first one is, Claudia?
It's Jazal.
Jazal from Mumbai, Somaya School of Design.
Oops, wait, stop. Sure.
Good luck, Jazal,
Yeah.
and good luck, everyone.
Thank you. Here we go. Yeah.
Hi, I'm Jason, and this is a support belt. A lot of people wear it, including pregnant women and people with back issues. I wear one almost every day. I was born with a condition where my abdominal muscles are not developed, and so this is a lifelong thing for me. This is such a medical functional thing. It's not a good looking thing. That is why we try to hide it, but it doesn't remain hidden. Because you're trying to hide it, you are also marked as different. You stand out simply by the fact that you're wearing it. In my case, because it's such a rare condition, I don't even have a specific belt that I can wear. I have to make do with whatever is the closest available option. Why does it have to be this way? What if this belt could become a garment that you could wear all the time? I took inspiration from history. The kamarband that the tuxedo goes with is actually the kamarband from India. It was time to bring it back. This project began as a way to digitally fabricate using biomaterials to create custom supports. I played with different biocomposites, trying out binders and fillers to vary the material properties. Computational geometries, origami, auxetics, and textile scaffolds were used to vary structural properties. Different interfaces and fabrication methods were used to translate these ideas into a physical form. Fabric, wood, and gelatin came together with casting, 3D printing, and laser cutting. This project finally allows me to step out wearing a belt that I don't have to hide. For years it has held me back. Now I'm taking it forward.
All right. Thank you. Moving to the presentation. Yeah. So, well, the video more or less covers the arc of the story. Let's look at some of the details. So support belts are designed to disappear. You're not meant to show them. They're supposed to be worn under your shirt, under your garments, and so on. And I wear one almost every day. This is my belt. It is functional, but it is not comfortable. It's not attractive. It curls over and pokes you. The ribs are not sufficient. They stretch. They are difficult to align, and so on. So it's full of issues. So my question was, what if the support belt didn't need to be hidden? Could it become a garment instead? And what I went ahead with was, what I envisioned was this support garment that could be worn on its own. So it could fulfill all the necessary requirements, but it would also be a garment in its own right, instead of something being hidden and something being tucked away. So could there be a support garment made to custom sizing, providing the strength and flexibility and rigidity in the right locations through geometric and material properties? Could there be a system to create this from design to actual usage? Initially, I had sort of thought of this whole system, which would be a design generator, which was the code side of it, with the computational geometry in it, the biomaterial recipes that would make the material. Both of these would come together in a production workflow using 3D printing or other digital fabrication methods, in turn resulting in the garment finally, which was what the aim was, the target was. Over the course of the project, some of these have been deprioritized. My inspiration, I started off with corsets and weight belts, but finally came to the kamarband. The kamarband is currently it's a very Western centered garment worn with tuxedos, but it originates in India. So I thought, why not bring it back? It's part of my heritage. It's part of, and we've forgotten about it. So, it's a great thing to revive. For the material, I considered biocomposites because I could then control the material properties. I needed rigidity and flexibility and strength to vary those. So I could control those by preparation of the biomaterial. So I chose biomaterials instead of currently what is essentially plastic ribs. I tried a lot of combinations initially with gelatin based and agar based and sodium alginate based with cellulose and kaolin and various kinds of fillers. So a lot of testing happened to find the initial combination of materials. This is all of those and then some. I was also for a while working on a parallel fabrication system. This is a biogun that was based on something that FabLab Barcelona already did, but I sort of made my own version. This is something that I have put on standby for the time being, but it's a work in progress on the side. I also worked on an interface that could help generate the outlines and patterns needed. So this is a web page that is already active on the web, and you can sort of put in your measurements, put in the number of teeth and lengths and various measurements to get an SVG file that you could then take to the head of digital fabrication. Sorry, this is stuck. Yeah, and I also explored organic patterns. Sorry. Hang on. Sorry, I need to reshare. I don't know what's happening. Is my okay. So we're back. Is my screen visible?
You can reshare.
I can reshare. Okay. All right. Right.
Okay.
I also explored auxetic patterns to figure out how that geometry could be helpful. Then at some point I realized that I could explore all of this all year long, making machines, making geometries, playing with patterns. But what I realized was that I needed to start on the belt itself so that it would help me focus my workflow. So I went back to looking at my structural requirements and started sketching. I worked out several shapes and forms to try out different pieces that were a combination of hard and soft material that would give me the requisite geometric and the structural properties. The idea was to find geometry that would allow the fabric to bend in certain directions, but prevent it from bending in other directions, which was what my problem was with the belt, that the edges would curl over or it was difficult to bend in that. So I tested the geometry in multiple ways by 3D printing on the fabric, as you can see here, by casting the pieces in biocomposites like this, and by using ply and textile as well. So these are, again, this is a second set of biomaterial tests. This is mainly gelatin and cellulose from bagasse. Bagasse is also a material that I have abundantly available and access to. And so bagasse cellulose is what I use for most of these. So this is another set of trials. I tried casting the full size belt in a gelatin bagasse mix, but the shrinkage was too high, so I sort of put that aside for the time being. And next, I tried fabric and ply composites like we did in textile scaffolding, which was the most promising of the whole lot of trials.
I think we lost Jasal.
I can hear you. Am I
Um,
missing?
give me a second, Jasal.
Yeah. I don't know what was wrong. It's been working perfectly fine all these days.
Is your presentation on your Git?
No, it's on Canva.
And did you put the presentation in the shared folder?
No. I can send you a link.
Send me the link, please, in the chat. And please, that's why we ask the presentations to be on the, okay.
There you go.
Okay, so I will share for you, and then you can just talk without having to share your screen, because I think that it is the connection. I hope my connection is good as well, because I am not on the cable now. So we were actually,
We'll go to 29.
yeah. Yeah, we passed that. So, yes. Okay. Okay, I think that you're here.
Yes. You can move to the next slide. Yeah. So I worked out with a lot of fabric ply composites, and those are the most promising. I could get a mix of the hard and soft properties that I needed. Next slide, please. So yeah, they resisted and they bent and the curvature was what I required more or less. So I selected 3 patterns out of those, and those are what you will see right now. So this is ply on textile, and I'm moving my arm underneath, so it's moving very fluidly. And all three patterns are a variation on the brick pattern, which I later realized that they all came out to be a brick pattern, which is alternate, staggering of the unit. And this was the first piece that I fully assembled, and I realized that it's a little too large. So the next ones I made smaller. And yeah, since the wooden layer was going to be hidden by more fabric, by a second upper layer of fabric, I used laser cut stencils to imitate a block printing technique, again from my home state of Kutch. So I've just imitated the same pattern to sort of show that. And those are the 2 pieces I've completed. And yeah, it's been quite a journey, and there's so much more to explore in very many directions. So the printer, more auxetics, material libraries for biomaterials, for textile scaffolds, for auxetic patterns. And most importantly, I would like to actually fine tune this framework that goes from the design all the way to execution, with options for anyone else as well who needs something like this. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. Troy, all yours.
Thanks, Anastasia. It's all really great work. It's been fun to follow this through the semester and through the course. I really love your video. Way to call out your sister in the credits. I think that was really well done, and I really enjoy the greenhouse that you're in. It really fits the project. Good work with the biomaterials. I think you did an excellent job experimenting with them and figuring out what they are and what they could be. I love the aesthetic value that you brought to the cummerbund. It's really beautiful. In fact, I now look at the pictures of you at the end, and I want to see you redesign all the rest of your clothes as well to match the cummerbund, because I think you've got something really nice there as an aesthetic, and you just need to carry it through all the rest of it. There's a picture that you had of a traditional dress within your presentation there, and I think you'd look great in it. I think you should go for that and try to make it match your cummerbund, which gives you some serious opportunities to keep working with the textiles that you developed there and the biotextiles that you developed there. I really like that you picked a pattern from your home region, and that you really worked with that and developed that forward. I think it adds a lot of richness to the project. But I also think you learned a lot in trying to make that scaffold, that wooden scaffold especially. That's a lot of time, and I can see a lot of dedication there. So great work, great execution.
Yes.
It looks good. Yeah.
I'm sorry,
Tell me.
my camera is off. Anastasia, I can't turn on my camera.
Yes, because now
Sorry.
you can. Yeah.
Oh,
Now we
yes.
see it.
Yes. Yeah, you missed all my smiling and laughing at your. Yes, thank you so much. Yeah, please do go on.
Okay. So the biomaterials have their challenges, but what I think is really interesting here is the fabrication process you've developed. So it doesn't matter if the bioprocesses start to degrade after a certain time period. You have a way of recycling it, using it again, and remaking it every time. And I really think there's something beautiful to that process. And I like to see with the aesthetic that you develop, also make that part of the system that you've developed, so that you're casting, you're somehow living with this in your home, and the idea that you are living with it is a part of what you're doing every day. It becomes just a part of a practice. So instead of having to work with one that's the wrong color and uncomfortable and just terrible, you have this ability to remake them and remake the colors as you go along and have that develop as you go along. I took a look at your documentation. The process is good. The final project's not quite there yet, so be sure to get your video up in there. Get your whatever Canva you can make that in, because it's something. Yeah, we like to show other people what's going on here. But that I'd love to do this final piece there in that as well, because your process is well documented. I'd love to have the final piece there as well.
Absolutely.
Where did your color choices come from with that green and blue in the end? Yeah, how did you get to that green and blue in the final one?
It just it was the plants around me and all of that, because we're doing a lot of solar punk, and so I sort of brought that in.
Excellent. Yeah, I'm happy you switched towards solar punk. It really works. Good job.
Thank you.
Yeah, good process too. It was really enjoyable.
I think that the exploration of Jessal has been a lot greater into looking a lot how he could make this with computational bioprinting. But I also I am happy with the wise decision of finally choosing an alternative method that is allows you to come to an outcome within the constrained time frame you have. And this is a very important learning in general. during the course we see that we have only 1 week for different modules, so we learn how we can get to something, a result within the reality that we have to face, and this is very important. And I think that your research has a lot more to give, and I hope that everything will be documented extensively.
Absolutely.
So let's continue.
Okay, I think I'm next.
Okay.
Okay.
Yes,
Giselle, that was
yeah.
amazing. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Claire. I'm a designer, a gardener, a music lover, and a photographer. And I'm constantly making visual connections. I see pattern everywhere. And my strongest impulse is to frame it, to give fresh context to things that are often overlooked. Because there is so much beauty that constantly surrounds us, even when we can't see it. My favorite patterns feel lived in or touched by human hands, or they come directly from nature. They're what I like to call living patterns. They are small things and big things, which are actually maybe kind of the same thing. I've learned from gardening that some of the best delights in life often can't be planned for. Although ironically, you kind of need to start with a plan. These are the kinds of pleasures you only usually encounter when you're out living in the world. But you have to leave space to tune into their beauty. I'm a big believer that the best ideas often come from combining totally unexpected things. And they may even seem like opposites. Because when you start looking closer, you sometimes find that they're actually uniquely predisposed to support each other. That's why in the future, I'd like to work as an analog surface pattern designer, hosting workshops that combine disparate things to make new things, and making prints that are about process as much as product.
Oh, almost. No, it did something.
Using biomaterials for a more holistic approach, and natural dyes, some from my own garden. This project was a prototype for my surface pattern work, to leverage small daily actions that yield fruit in due time. But really it was a prototype for a life system, to see if all the ways I enjoy spending my time could come together and actually support each other. So I can have more variety in my day-to-day, which is when I'm the happiest. Because to most people, at the end of the day, a cool garment is a cool garment. But to its maker, it's about the place that inspired and cradled its creation. And the people that helped bring it to fruition, who can't be overlooked. And enjoying the process.
Okay. Now we pass. Wow. That one really got them. Whoa. Say cheese.
I think putting more beauty into the world is a noble cause. But you can't always control how your work will be perceived. That doesn't mean it's futile to put in your best effort, but you might as well learn to enjoy the process. Because at least that way, if nobody gets what you do, You've enjoyed the journey for yourself. But I think if you're lucky and you have put your best foot forward, then the people on your frequency will have a chance to pick up what you're putting out into the world and start making their own connections.
Okay, so thank you. I'll just go full screen here.
Control L.
Control M, F.
L.
Okay, so so this project was what I call visible frequencies, and I think it was a combination of ideas that have kind of been floating around in my head for a very long time. And I knew that I wanted to come to Fabricademy to explore them, but they weren't like quite clear yet. So I actually pitched this idea in December at midterms. And then over the break, I was thinking, and I was like, no, I want to do biomaterials, and that's what I really want to do. And I came back and I told Cecilia, who was my mentor, and she kind of pushed back a little bit and was like, oh, that's such a shame. Because I think you have something that's really unique and fresh. And I'm really glad that she did, because I think this is really what I needed to follow. And it was the thing that started to bring all of these ideas together. Because I really have just been looking at pattern for years, and I didn't even really notice how much I do this, where I constantly photograph them. So in the future, as I mentioned, I'd like to work as an analog surface pattern designer. And this doesn't mean you can't use digital processes, but I think the point is to focus as much on print as real world processes. So for this project, as you saw, I focused on cymatics and the art of water marbling. I started water marbling last year, and I just fell in love with how every single time it's different. It just keeps it fresh. And then I'm sure you're all familiar now with what cymatics are, but if you're not, they're patterns that are made visible by sending tone to a metal plate or a bath of water. And then the nodes are where the material concentrates, and that's where there is no vibration. So what's interesting in this project is that every plate has different tonal frequencies and resonant frequencies. So not every plate will pick up every kind of frequency. So I tried many different things. So for this project, what ended up working were really in the lower spectrum. The lower tones produce more wide, big waves, and the higher tones produce really tight-knit, intricate waves. They're also very annoying to listen to for long periods. So I'm really happy that I actually mostly got lower tones in the end, because it kind of saved my hearing. I captured these patterns on mulberry silk for the final garment, and using indigo and sumi ink. And I also worked with paper, which captured them beautifully. The fabric really needs to be scoured and mordanted well. I had some panics where it was not picking up the prints, but eventually we cracked it. And so I got lucky with the silk. Lots of other fabrics just didn't work. So I also tried about like 10 plant-based dyes, and they really didn't marble. So that's going to take a lot more troubleshooting, but I'm really happy that I at least had one option of color, and I think it actually looked really good. Since I'm a gardener and growing materials is also a big part of my future, I really wanted to throw biomaterials into the mix. So in this case, it was kombucha. And I did try to grow it, and we also sourced it from a local supplier. And luckily, a lot of my dyes absorbed beautifully on the kombucha. So that was great. And so this is the resulting bag that I made from that, we use Japanese knotweed, which is an invasive species, and that's what grows in my garden. So I'm kind of excited about that. It's the darker color. Red onion skins, weld, and safflower. And then the cymatics were generated with an amplifier, a regular speaker, a bucket, and a plastic sheet for waterproofing. 16 gauge copper wire for the speaker, and then aux cable for your phone, and an additional waterproof speaker, which I used a lot as backup. You can really blow your speakers quite easily. So it was good to have multiple speakers and try to find like cheap ones, because like any speaker will do, but you do kind of go through them. And I also really have to thank Annie for lending me her grandmother's sewing machine to finish this project, because I really couldn't have done it without that. So thank you, Annie. And lastly, I just want to say I really believe in process, because process is what makes up our lives. You do need to experiment to find those things. But in addition, just some of these things this project facilitated were me getting confident in my second language, French, as I moved to Montreal to do this. And now people in shops don't switch back to English when I talk to them, and that feels amazing. Picking up analog photography, learning to animate, and writing music. And I think that there's a lot of opportunity to take these frequencies and turn them into a song. And there's just a lot of potential to expand on this project and do workshops with people and that sort of thing in the future. So I really think that you can turn your favorite things into a system. And I'm trying to continue doing that so that I can get more variety in my life and enjoy my time. And I hope that that inspires other people to do the same. So thank you.
Okay, can I jump in? Fantastic. Claire, really love the process. I don't, yeah, no, it's the beautiful way that you opened up your process, how you noted and noticed and detailed and built relationships and constituencies inside of the process. You found your relationalities to the materials you were working with and how you were expressing the materiality throughout textiles and the different things you were working with. Really spot on, really sharp. The way you were destroying electronics along the way to get the things you wanted was really, really fabulous as well. What I don't think it is, though, I don't think it's analog. I think what you have here, what you've really dived into, is a really deep, more than human process. What you're doing there, that relationality, and with those way you're noticing things and how the meaning that you're finding within the things is significant to you and sometimes only you. And other people find the beauty in different places. Fits a more than human description far better than it does a simple analog description. So I would definitely look at the more than human literature and like what Ron Wakari is doing with it in his studio, and then run with that, because you found a beautiful constituency, a beautiful result, a beautiful process within that that's just so dead on and amazing. As a collector of Venetian water paper, and you know, every painting in my house is that. Yeah, I love the subtlety of it. I love how it's ever so slightly different, and yet what I really, really like about this is that while you are working with a chaotic process, it's a stochastic process, as in the results aren't always the same, but they're similar. And you're getting those really nice similarities there, and you're noticing how those frequencies really start to bring that stochasticity or that similarity to what you're doing. And I think you got to dive into that even stronger, keep going with that, because there's something there. But it only works if you know everybody around you, working a different language, and you're activating different parts of your brain than you've activated before to really make that work. So yeah, really good work. Can't wait to read some more of the documentation. And if I can say anything, look at some of the vegetable tanning private systems and how you get to veggie tan. So mimosa flowers, you know, some of your deeper tannings, but also look deeply into how you can use processes that involve rust to get to the darker colors of indigo, like black. You can do a black indigo out of that using chestnut, holes and iron filings. And I think you'll get even deeper expressions down there. So keep running with that. And I think there's something really amazing that comes even further into this. Good work. Yeah, no, I'm not saying that it isn't amazing so far. It's great, but I think you got something there that you should stick with.
Thanks so much, Troy. That means a lot. I appreciate it.
Yeah, but check out the More Than Human people. I think you're going to find a
More
lot of
Than
good friends over there. Yeah.
Okay, I absolutely will.
Hi Claire, I also have a comment. I wanted to say thank you for sharing also the behind the scenes because it's very fascinating to see the process and the very special way that you have to create this new aesthetics. And what you really did is like you managed to capture like a snapshot of a moment in time. And this is not very possible with the digital tools sometimes. But
Mhm.
if you feel the need to use them, maybe a good way to implement this in the project could be using them to decode the frequencies back and maybe add this little part maybe for the next collection.
Mhm.
Job.
Thanks, Claudia.
Thank you, Claire. Let's continue with Parfait.
Hello. Oh, hello. My name is Parfait, and my project was to work on 3D printed accessories, especially for ceremonial gowns. My 3D accessory line called it Sesonga, which is my brand name. I usually make custom-made and bespoke outfits for weddings and other occasions. My motivation to start designing or working on these accessories, I wanted to explore on digital fabrication and how I can expand the way we design by merging culture expression and technology. It was my first time working on later on accessories, but then 3D, I learned 3D through Fabricademy. So I wanted to explore how maybe I can customize something for my clients if it's needed in my work of line. As someone who works mostly with custom made, I want to merge the traditional way we usually do it and on how I can do it with digital fabrication. The process, I used AI to design these designs. Mostly, I wanted to see it since we are in the era of AI. I wanted to see if what I imagine in my head, AI can express it more better. And by putting the descriptive prompts, it allowed me to quickly explore the range of forms and more aesthetics way to see the designs. Here are more like the prompts the AI generated, or specifically I used Triple 3D AI. And here's the timeline. I started by doing the dress and the accessories, and I did the garment construction. As I said, the accessories, I used the AI to generate the designs, and many of the designs were not complete, so sometimes I used Blender to fill the empty gap if it was needed to be, and then print it in the printer. Here the STL files. Here's the process on how we printed the accessories. We used the PLA filament and the printer as well. Also, we used the 3D pen for more like to complete some lines which were not really printed in the printer machine. So we used the 3D pen. And also we used the heat gun to give it like more shape or the form, because this was a belt, and we printed it a little bit flat, so we had to use the hot gun to give it the form. In the end, we did different accessories. Many of them were not featured in the video, but I printed a belt, tiara, a choker, necklaces, buttons, or even many bracelets. Here's the result on the mannequin on the dress. And also what I can add is this is only the beginning. I'm planning to efficiently print more and learn more, because this was my first time to do it. And I hope it will help me in my future work, or it can inspire some more creatives. Thank you.
Parfait, that's really great. Way to use that thermal forming and really make it look like something beautiful. Are you happy with it? I know you've used a lot of SLS printing in the past. I can see it in your jewelry. How is this FDM printing? How do you find that?
It didn't really come out the way I wanted. Wanted more aesthetic and more pleasing, you know, especially if it's made for someone for his special day. But I'm still learning, and I hope if I print more, I'll get better.
Yeah, no, I think it's really beautiful what happened there in the red, like the red necklace. I see where the white ones are struggling and there's process happening. But when you get to that red one and it's shaping up there, something really magic's happening. And I would really like to see you electroplate that next. So take that and put it, uh, basically turn it into copper, and then you can plate it in gold, silver, whatever you want to. Because I think that as you get that to a metal, into a metallic feature, something really interesting happens there. But I really love to see you working with the pen and like really adjusting and learning the process and making the process your own. That's really strong here. I think you did a really good job getting it to that level.
Yes.
Thank you, Parfait. I would like also to ask you if you showed any of these to any of your clients, and if they told you anything, or if they like it, or how do you think your clients will receive those?
Oh, because it's something new, maybe especially in my country. I think it will require someone open-minded, I think. And mostly people I interact with, they're more like, how can I say, not open-minded.
They're more traditional, let's
Yeah,
say.
traditional, yeah.
Yes. I would say don't give up, and also try the electroplating technique for the future, because it will give a big difference from having it from a plastic accessory to a metallic accessory. Okay, thank you. And within, we cannot hear you. We cannot hear you. Check your microphone input on Zoom. And otherwise, we will swap with Patricia while you are fixing your audio. Let's see. Within, we cannot hear you. So please disconnect and connect again. Check your audio. Let's start with Patricia, and then after it is within. Thank you.
Okay. Good. Hello, everybody. Let me share my screen. Share my screen. Wait a little bit, please. Look at me. Here. Wait a little bit, please. As I was not. Wait. Sorry. Okay. Here. Share. Can you see it?
Yes,
Yeah.
you can.
Okay. Well, hello. My name is Patricia. I'm a fashion designer, and here is my final project. I will start with the video first.
I believe there is no sound, so maybe you can screen share again and check the box.
En una industria que se mueve demasiado rápido, corremos el riesgo de perder nuestra alma. Nos dicen que el pasado es un pasatiempo y que el uso de las manos es obsoleto. Pero nuestro tonalí, nuestra energía interna, está enraizado en la tierra. Nos dicen que el futuro es frío, puramente digital. Pero la innovación sin herencia está vacía. Para volar, el espíritu necesita una estructura. Necesita a Quetzalcóatl. La sabiduría de la dualidad entre la tierra y el cielo, lo artesanal y lo digital, la transformación de la existencia. Hoy, el 70% de nosotros no logra encontrar un lugar dentro de la industria. Estamos fragmentados. Tratamos la artesanía y la tecnología como rivales. Vemos un producto, pero olvidamos la red de historias que hay detrás. Pero cuando cerramos la brecha, algo sucede. La sabiduría a través de la dualidad despierta. Esto no es solo un circuito, es una alianza. Es el momento en que la serpiente se encuentra con las plumas. Esto es tonalidad, una contribución colectiva de saberes que aportan a nuestra economía, nuestra cultura y nuestro futuro. No somos solo diseñadores, somos el puente entre lo artesanal y la vanguardia. Fluye equilibrando tu oficio con tu código. Abraza la dualidad.
Well, since ancient Aztecs and Toltec civilization in Mexico, Quetzalcoatl has been a symbol of wisdom and knowledge, as well as creation and balance. Rooted as a master of the raw materials and the breath of the wind, Quetzalcoatl has been this balance and this symbol. However, while the Spanish colonization took place, many Mexican civilizations were suppressed. However, the deep and sophistication of the ancient Quetzalcoatl prevailed, keeping the pre-Hispanic and indigenous heritage alive while adopting new ways of life. By acknowledging this immense duality of Quetzalcoatl and the Mesoamerican civilization, the universe it's built in a balance between opposite forces, and this balance is where tonally emerge because our inner spiritual force brings this correlation between machinery and embroidery, all the artisan things, and in a creative freedom. So through design wisdom, it's a balance between both of them and this creative way of doing things. We did 2 garments, trying to find a way to flow between both the artisanal as well as the digital part and join them together and bring something beautiful. So we made two garments, and I say we made because I work with students all together. The students learn new things. I learn new things from them, and we did these 2 outfits all together. And well, first we made the quetzal. It's referring to the earth and all the handcraft, and it's a little bit more structured. We did this the embroidery by hand, the bioresins. With bioresin we made the scales. The scales, and then on the back we cut in the laser machine and did this effect of the serpent movement and the skin. So we did this, and here are some images of the garment at the end. The scales on the shoulder pads, they do light up. In this garment, the other one we had a little bit of problem. This one is the coatl. It express the spirit, the flow, the movement, the change. So it's a little bit more relaxed and different colors. We have the feathers that we model in 3D, and then we paint them. And then we have the kirigami, these models that are assembled together in order to get a fabric. and we cut the pieces, I assemble of them with different colors in order to make this resemble to the wind and to the movement of the water. And we did this ashiko and borrow stitches on all the garment as well. Here are some of the photos of the garments. It's a little bit more fluid garment and with more flexibility. And well, I decided to do this as in order to look for these modern seekers. It's a framework for students to learn the balance and explore this duality. Here are some pictures of all the students doing something different. We cut, we went to the laser, we saw, we embroidered, and well, it was a really, really nice experience. Here is a little bit of the photo shooting. The students soldering, and well, it was a really nice experience with all the students. They all apport, they give something and share. They are really excited, and we would like to continue with the project and do other things. Here is an image of all the students that I work with. It was really, really a challenge because I had graphic designers, industrial designers, fashion designers, and yeah, they have different things, and we have to work all together and to manage to teach the ones that they didn't know anything, and then in both sides. So it was a really, really nice experience. And yes, well, let's totally find the cancel flow. And well, thank you. I will stop sharing.
Okay, Patricia. I want to start by saying it's really wonderful that you did Textile Academy by running your own micro textile academy. That's somewhat meta and kind of awesome all the way down. Just to put a point on it or opinion it really quick. Really good work on the LEDs. I was really worried about that when we first talked about it a few weeks ago. And the way that you took that into those biomaterials and used it to kind of illuminate those biomaterials and show the diversity in the biomaterials, especially the ones that you were dyeing with the strange dyes, and how you were dyeing the feathers as well. I wanted to see it behind the others too, because you found a way to really pull that rainbow and those really deep aspects of color that you were finding there up in a way, but you didn't do it with like the colors of LEDs I expected. I think that really, to see a really nice bright yellow behind there and really have it keep some of that aesthetic and mystique, it really ties it back to the whole purpose and the whole point of keeping with the dragon and keeping with this idea of what does that mean to be cultural, or that cultural interpretation. Really enjoyed the embroidery there as well. And the denim outfit with the feathers is just a lot of work. I really, really, really like it. So I think you achieved what you were looking for. I think it's interesting that you did the native version of it and brought it back together with a bunch of students who were doing the exact same thing you were doing, but in their own little ways and in their own little levels. And I really hope it helps you create your own hub at some point, because I think you've got a really great place to make a hub and a lot of great students and things that you could make a hub with. So I look forward to having you in the network and seeing more of your students work next year.
Thank you, Troy. Really, I appreciate all your comments. Thank you very much.
Yeah, but you nailed those LEDs so tight. Like that was, I'm so used to light up garments looking terrible, and that was not this case. And so congratulations.
Thank you.
Congratulations, Patricia. I think also the outcomes are outcomes of what the aesthetics of the young generation wants to express. And that's very nice because they refer also to the young generation. So this collaborative and participatory design, doing your experiment of transmitting these learnings to your students locally I think it's indeed a way to go for the future that you can establish this research line. I wish that in your presentation we could see a little bit all the process of the 3D printing and natural dyeing of the feathers, because there was you talked a lot more for the sashiko and the laser cutting, and you didn't talk a lot about the 3D printing of the feathers and the research and the dyeing.
Yeah.
And one more hint, because I like jeans and working with jeans, and I think the aesthetic. When you laser cut them, afterwards you can put them in the washing machine, and they can fray like feathers.
Yeah.
So you can use this fraying of the jeans as well to augment the feather style. Let's thank you and continue with Within. I think that she fixed her audio. Yes.
Yes, hi.
Hi, we can hear you now.
Okay, I'm so sorry about that. I was connecting with my earphone, so it got ruined. Can you see my screen?
No, press share. Yes.
Is it? Yeah, okay. Um, So, thank you. This is my project. It's called Takamoldira. My project is about transforming culture and do identical into functional and wearable object. I usually do interior design and do creative things. So I wanted to explore more digital things in textile, because I like creativity and in digital way. So that's why I joined Fabricademy. So was my the idea of doing leather molding and create something which is unique and that has identity and culture explosive. So the problem was most bags follow repetitive shapes. As we all know, most of the bags people wear, they are somehow with the same shape. And so my idea was I wanted to create something functional that tell a story, and that's where identity. So that was the objective. So the inspiration was an Afro shape presents beauty, pride, and culture as an African woman. And I also did African shape, yeah, which can also give ideas for other people to create different shapes into like wearable things. So, and the target was to be creative, professional, and like with different, this was my mood board kind of stuff. So I started by sketching different forms to translate my idea into shapes, because in the assignment I explored different shapes, molding them. Some happened to take the shapes, others failed. Yeah, that was some of the challenges, but the designing development, I did those design of a lady, like a woman with Afro hair and African shape. And I also used the material, like I used leather. And also the design shape, I used the CNC to cut them, like to make a shape. So I molded the leather on those shape to create like patterns to be used on the bag. And the fabrication process where I cut it, I sew. Well, I didn't sew. I gave it to people who are professional into sewing because I don't know how to sew. And that's how it came out. Well, it didn't come out like with aesthetic and clearly the same way I wanted, but at least I saw the idea of, since it is something that I want to keep doing, like in the future in my creative journey. Here is the bag and how it came out. And the bags are portable, lightweight. I find out that I can like do different size. So yeah. So Taka, the reason why I called Taka Moldura is just that I have a brand, it's already called Taka Design, and it does craft and the interior design. So I wanted like to take that name and put into like the project and call it that way. Thank you.
Good job, Ravina. I'm excited to see that you got two bags to actually shape and mold and form. I think you're realizing in this process that not all leathers are the same, and not all leathers are alike. And it really is the biggest challenge. Shaping and molding leather can be really super fun and interesting, but how the leather is tanned and how or where the leather came from, what animal, how soft it is, really changes so much of what happens in that process. And so, yeah, I like your result, especially the white bag is really interesting. I think you got something going on there. I think you should learn to sew it yourself as well, because I think you'll get a better experience with the leather and you'll learn how to really bring it together. But yeah, the leather choices is always the hardest part here. And so, I commend you for going into something very difficult, because having control over the leather process is really hard. And you got to go to some very specific places. I think the closest one to you is Morocco, that you can actually get or have some specific leather control. And then like molding and shaping and casting that's not untrivial. How did the molding casting box come out? You had a vacuum former earlier.
Well, I tried with it. At sometimes it was not working so well. So I used different like techniques, like because it was my first time doing the molding, and all the researches that I was making was showing me how to vacuum acrylic instead of leather. So for the leather ones, when I was seeing it and the idea that I had, like my ideation was to do something like unique, big, and all the things that I was seeing was small stuff, like was to mold little things. And all the mold that I was finding out was kind of like that mold put on the material. And for me, I wanted to make like the whole shape of the mold that I will make. Well, it was so hard, so I used different techniques.
Yeah, no, the white one's good. The Africa one's also super cool. I'd love to see it in a vegetable tan leather just because it'll come out a little bit more color-wise unified, but you'll get a better shape and form because it'll hold the shape and form better. So I definitely suggest like, and then there's a technique where if you can get the vegetable tan one, you can boil it in honey or you can boil it in wax, and it becomes just the most beautiful, hard, crazy, fun, amazing material bag that's ever been made. And it's an old technique. It goes back to the Acadians 3,000 years ago. But as you're digitally fabricating that, just getting that one little extra piece of patina on it, I think would be great. Also, I think you need to take the chains that you're using, and even a bigger chain, like good old like bike lock chain, and actually put the leather around that too, and then do the vacuum process on that. So I think you're going to get some really interesting texture there, especially like you twist it before you put it in. That's where I think that vacuum former is going to do something really cool. So I commend you on getting as far as you did because it's not an easy process, but yeah, just take it one more step, and I think you got it.
Yeah, sure.
Thank you, Vivi. Now we can have a 10-minute bio break, and then we can continue with the rest of the presentations. I will play some music.
Yes.
See you all in a minute.
Okay, I think we can resume if Troy is back. And next up is Samantha. We will wait a little bit more.
Hi, I can share my screen now.
Wait a little bit more because actually we need 2 more minutes to get back.
Yeah, I think Troy had a little connection issue and was trying to reconnect.
Okay, until Troy reconnects, I will share some more videos.
Yeah, I think the audio is not shared.
Actually, there is no audio for some reason. I don't hear it either. Okay.
Sorry, connection issue.
Okay, we are back. Samantha, you can share.
Inspiration can come from many places. Sometimes, looking back is what shows us who we could become. Through experimentation, results. Writing. And documentation. A path begins to take shape. Every material tested, every mold made, every failure, and every discovery. All of it written down, all of it part of the process. This is the record of a journey. This is me now. Reflect on your past and present in order to represent the future. I heard these words a few months ago at an architecture conference, and I took inspiration from them to create my project. Ever since I was a kid, I used to love to dress up, wear costumes, and fake jewelry. I think I saw them as a way to make whatever is going on inside my head tangible. And although nowadays I do celebrate objects, I question the way we produce them and how consumerism shapes our relationship with them. But I do think that design is the solution. If we make more, if we create things responsibly and contemplate their life cycle, we can reshape our relationship with them for better. So there are many options for conscious material selection, and one of them is biomaterials. So I knew I wanted to intersect these two fields, jewelry and biomaterials, to create my project. After a few weeks of recompiling recipes and testing them and seeing how they behave, I got a bit lost in the way. I didn't know how to keep on evolving my project and how to do it. I questioned how I was actually curious about how people do these types of projects. So I began to notice that my interest was shifting more towards the process itself. So that's where Notes on Creation comes in. Notes on Creation, it's a field journal that gathers my notes, recipes, experiments, reflections, and discoveries collected through the creation process of this collection of jewelry. And this is and hopefully it can help anyone who's interested in doing a similar project. So this is not a step-by-step manual, but rather a process overview. And my journal, it's narrated in chronological order. So I started with the material experimentation, the recipes I used, and then the quality analysis, how these materials behave, their texture, how they feel, and their shrinkage percentage. And then the explanation of the concept of my jewelry collection. Then the production process, the programs I used to create these pieces, and finally, well, the final result. So since this was a printed book, I wanted to add some interactive aspects to it, like this data sheets card that you can pull out and see the details, some handwritten notes and QR codes. This is the molds I use. This is the back part. So these are the final pieces. I reinterpreted the plastic jewelry my sister and I were wearing in the first picture, and with biomaterials. So I use this photo as an allusion to my past, and recreating them with biomaterials is a way to represent my future. I used molds and bioresin to create them with a few variations. One of them has eggshell powder and the other one has hibiscus flower dye. And I also add some old metal earrings in the back of them to make them functional. And I also added to a choker I added a piece of my mom's hair, like a Victorian bracelet. So these are the final pieces. I always use my sister as a model for my projects. So in many ways, this is the guide I wish I had to start this project, and I am certain it will serve as a foundation for my future ideas, and hopefully it can help somebody else. And I want to finally end with this phrase that I feel more and more to be true. Looking back has the power to create a better future. Thank you.
Okay, Samantha. I think the word you're looking for there is interpretive framework. Architects especially love to use methodologies and methods and all that, but what you've developed there is a framework that's supposed to be interpreted by the next person who does it because it connects to something personal in their life and that they need to go through that process in order to come to the same results. I love how you took the plastic jewelry and things that did have meaning for you and reinterpret it and bring it back in there. So there's an interpretation part of that level as well. And I think you have to really respect that and find that as a fundamental element to the process. So you're not teaching methodologies, you're not making blueprints, you're opening up your process so that you can share that process with others and that they can take it and make it their own. That they're intended to make it their own and they have to actually find their ownness within that process. And so I think that that's really fundamental what you did there. Um, Talking about the way you were dyeing the biomaterials and what they were made out of, I wish I could see it just a little bit closer. And I'm looking through some of the documentation because it's actually a little bit better. But on the model, it looks great. But I think you got to bring it up there because you have some really nice textural qualities that are being developed there. And at the level that you're standing, it still looks like the original plastic ones, or what I imagine the original plastic ones look like. So getting it to show the unique material character of the biomaterials, I actually think is an important part of this as well. And I think that's where a lot of the work lies. So love the presentation, love how you're showing people how to go through that process. Show us the fine details of it just a little bit more, and I think it's really killer. But yeah, the process I'm in love with. It's a really nice interpretive framework. It really shows how to take the things that in your life may have been plasticky and yet were important to you and remake them in a way that brings them and elevates them to a level that makes it all make sense.
Thank you.
Can you tell me, like, what is the detail like on that? Like, if I were to see it really up close, I want to touch it. I mean, I'm trying to imagine what it feels like.
So
Can you explain?
I am wearing one right now. So this is with hibiscus flower dye. And these ones are with eggshell powder. So they are a bit, I don't know what's the word, but like grainy. I don't know if you can see it.
I think there's a real grain and texture. If I know my biomaterials, and I have a whole library that was made in a previous Fabricademy by in my lab, so I can imagine these. And yeah, I wouldn't lose that textural aspect because I think that's really key to what's happening there. But yeah,
Yes.
really beautiful and way to recapture your childhood and put it into something new. I think that's awesome.
Thank you, Samantha. And we can continue with Marisa.
Can you see my screen?
Yes.
Okay. Hello everyone. My name is Marissa, and this is my project, Strange Little Bits I Call Home, also known as a Monday. So I don't have a home. Okay. I do. I just so happen to find it in many instances where where and when I wouldn't expect. For instance, this album by Frankie Cosmos, and even this exchange on Mattermost with my peer Porpla, where we're talking about weaving. And in 2012, this author, Verilyn Klinkenborg, asked the same question in their article, The Definition of Home. They acknowledge the physical and the spatial nature of home, but they also ask whether home has been embedded in our human consciousness since our earliest existence. Is it instinctive since we started wandering the land? So this question almost undergoes a metamorphosis of inquiry that presents the mirror back on ourselves. You know, at my root, at my core, who am I? Who are we? And so this project has ultimately been my quest into discovering why and what this unseen phenomenon is. So, you know, you're probably asking, okay, Marissa, well, what data exactly is representative of home? Like I said, I find home in many instances, experiences, interactions, jokes, sounds, smells, songs, but throughout this process and many rides in my car talking to myself about it, I delved deeper and my project pivoted more than half the way through from representing the tangible with the intangible, things that make me feel at home. For example, this demo song by The Strokes, with something, a resonance, a frequency that has allowed me to feel at home and participate in this act of making a home, this act of becoming. In part, it's a gratitude for the freedom and sentiments I've now been offered to explore what my own home is versus what it literally, very literally used to be for women in my culture and truly women at large. My practice is in merging art and engineering, craft and technology, past and present fabrication methodologies. I believe craft technology can unlock secrets in so many things, in sustainable design, material science, tangible embedded interaction, soft materials, textiles, and really the future of space technology. I truly believe by doing so, we connect more with the natural world, each other, and ourselves. So in this project, I explore my idea of home by encoding intergenerational reflections into woven structure, where binary data determines the weave pattern that transforms into a textile touch and touchless electronic instrument, which is also known as a theremin. So, in the spirit of a theremin, the project really has three main parts. The synth electronics component, which is the brain. This is where the magic happens. The textile and volume, the textile component, volume and pitch-based antennas that create their own electromagnetic field, and your hands that act as capacitors coming in contact with these fields being generated, which create a change in capacitance, and so the instrument picks this up and changes the sound accordingly. Merged together, they kind of look like this. You have your circuit, your volume antenna, your pitch antenna, which is where the interaction and the capacitance changes happen. and then it's output on sound as sound in the 25-watt bass amplifier. And then there's a grounding bracelet which disperses static electricity from the player back into the earth. So here's a little gander at my logic. I'm taking text data from a .txt file with about 130 to 150 characters, converting that to binary, zeros and ones, and converting that binary to a weaving pattern, specifically on an 8-shaft loom. I didn't have access to a jacquard loom, but I also wanted to work with the loom I have. So I used a forward advancing tool pattern as my base weave, and whenever there's a 1 present in the data, the pattern shifts 1 shaft combination ahead, and then at the same time I throw my enameled copper wire wound shuttle through as well. So this is my data collected. I formulated 7 questions for my mother, my grandmother, and myself to answer, questions that would abide to my character limit. So I recorded our answers in individual .txt files, and I input these text files into my Python code. This Python code basically takes my text data, converts it to binary, and spits out Excel file weaving patterns that show you which shafts to lift and when to throw a copper wire shuttle as well. Color wasn't programmed into the code. I just really like these colors, and along with many future developments, it's something I'd like to investigate with, in the future. So to weave, I use superfine wool yarn for my warp and weft, around 20 to 23 warps per inch. And for my copper wire weft, I used for my copper wire weft, I used the 30 gauge enameled copper wire. And for floating selvages on each sides of the textiles, I used 20 gauge, which is a little thicker. And it was for 1, more or less straight edges, and 2, a more electromagnetically uniform antenna. And for my grounding bracelet, I used washi paper. I cut that paper into strips, glued them to lengthen them, and wove over under continuously. I put copper tape on one end and soldered the exposed end to the tape, and then connected that to my ground rail and my circuit. This is my circuit diagram. Here's what it looks like. My inputs are my volume and my pitch textiles, and including a photoresistor, which really detects the changes in volume capacitance. Because pitch and volume may interfere with each other in the circuit, I decided to output my volume changes through an LED, and the photoresistor sees this and feeds these changes directly into the circuit. So my outputs are an LED, my grounding bracelet, and sound from both the pitch and volume antennas. I put a picture of my bass amp settings here as well, just to get the sound that I was trying to look for. Yes. So I really could fill a presentation by itself, talking about my odyssey, my journey into attempting to build an analog theremin. I mean, that was my initial goal after all. But DIY theremins are really delicate. And then I added an extra layer of complexity to that, which is e-textiles. And so my analog theremin, at least for now, didn't have a chance. It did show slight signs of life and functionality, but toward the end it wasn't substantial to show. So I converted my analog theremin to a digital one, and I programmed an Arduino Uno as shown in my previous diagram. I also wanted to transfer my circuit to a textile as well that I wove, but for the same aforementioned reason, I ended up designing a circuit enclosure tote, laser cutting it on vellum and cardstock paper, and weaving it together. So this is the final result. This is what it looks like. And you know, I feel like I can also encapsulate this sentiment by sharing a little something here.
Hey, how are you? I thought about you, so I guess I wanted to reach out before things get buried in the ether. It always happens. I know we don't always understand each other. We come from different places and times. I often think to myself who you would have become had you had the chance. Becoming is shitty, but it's also really beautiful. Like a dream, almost. Maybe every time I participate in this art of becoming, or whatever it is, through making, I see you. I learned how to weave. I wove a theremin, by the way, with parts of you and me in it. You know what's cool about a theremin? The difference in frequencies is what makes sound, not the frequencies alone. I know you didn't really get a chance to build a sense of self. Sorry. Thank you for your pains, your sorrows, your joys, yourselves as they are. I can only see me by seeing you.
So, yeah, I just want to thank my mentors and my peers, both remotely and outside this remote space, and my external other makers and creatives that offered their expertise and wisdom along the way. Really appreciate them. And thank you to you all for listening. Thanks so much.
Wow, Marissa, it's poetic and it's beautiful. I really love how the theremin's working. I think you reinvented the optocoupler along the way, but the point's not the technology. The point is the connection, and the point is how the expressive aspect of the technology is being used. And the way to really nail it in the end, the different frequencies of how the theremin actually works, and using that as a metaphor to describe whatever relationship was going on there. And you left it poetic enough that it's not clear, but I like that aspect of it. I don't want to know. I like it in the ambiguity that it lives within. If I were to give any comment as to what to do better next time, it's just take some of the really, really close up pictures of the results and put those in those first pictures. I was really worried at the beginning this is going off the rails and this is going to be something wild. And no, you nailed it so beautifully and so hard. It comes into something just fantastic, and it captures so many aspects of what we do, especially the textile scene, and a lot of the emotions that we feel in the textile scene as well, as we are trying to work on things that are incredibly hard along the way. So giving us that hint of what it's going to become in the beginning of your storytelling process, just really super zoomed in, very abstract, very, I don't I can tell what this is going to end as, really lands this in a way that makes it something really, really, really powerful in the end. I mean, it's powerful to begin with, but you can even take that up another level by just giving us some hints and some gentle hints as you take us through that initiation process. And then those come back and hit us really hard later. So wonderful work. Love the theremin. Love that you would attempt to make a theremin, because that's never easy.
Thank you, Troy. Thanks so much.
Yes, Marisa,
Oh, and
congratulations. Oh, you muted, Troy. Yeah.
Oh, sorry. I just wanted to add, I'm not surprised the analog one didn't work. They're so hard to get working. They're so finicky.
It has been such a big leap, like a big evolution from midterm. It's really astonishing how much work and love and incredible results that you were able to make, Marisa. That's amazing. And it all comes together, making a lot of sense. And I am sure that all of this knowledge and hours that you have spent trying to make it work will be definitely your luggage for your next journey.
Thank you, Anastasia.
I also wanted to add, Marisa, congratulations. I think you have this ability, to have like different layers together and transforming something very intangible like this data and conversation into like a material, a sound, but also a performance, a presence. And I think it's very beautiful. Thank you for sharing your project.
Thank you. Thank you, Claudia. Thank you all.
And then it's Portland.
Can everyone see my screen?
Yes.
Okay. Oh. Okay. So today I'll be presenting my project Gratitude Loom, a ritual instrument for weaving presence. When was the last time you were really here? Not here as in this Zoom call, here as in inside yourself. Presence, slow, breathing on purpose. Most systems are built to go faster. Gratitude Loom is built to hold still. What if slowing down wasn't something we had to escape technology to do, but something technology could help us practice? We live in an extraordinary time. We are more connected than any generation in history, and yet many of us feel quiet, relentless, a sense of always moving, but never quite arriving. Ritual is how repetition becomes meaningful. It's how we say, this matters. I am doing this deliberately. I am here. Gratitude is not just a feeling that appears. For most of us, it needs a form, a time, a body, a practice built slowly like a textile. Weaving is a conversation between attention and repetition, the over and under, the warp and the weft, slowly bringing the mind back to the body. The loom teaches you to slow down. AI, as we know it, has no body, no rhythm, no breath. It processes instantly. In many ways, it reflects the same acceleration that overwhelm our life. But weaving is different. Weaving has rhythm, it has resistance, it unfolds slowly through time. And suddenly I wonder, what if a loom could become the body of an AI? So what is Gratitude Loom? It is a ritual instrument, a 4-shaftable loom with sensor and AI. It reads the rhythm of your hand as you weave and gently evolving the woven pattern based on sustained presence. It holds space like a field that holds the weight of body lying in it. It creates conditions for presence. This is a sample of what a record of the present looks like. And the ritual is split into 6 different phases. Arrival, acknowledging, attention, collaboration, deepening, completion, and closing. We begin unstalling the session by expressing what the gratitude is, And then we begin to ask the weaver the intention of how they want the weaving experience to be. This intention will be used to move through this pattern matrix, which is organized by how, not by how they look, but by what they ask of the body. And through it all, the weaver holds full authority of the loom, follow, never leads. And the system listens to Hall effect sensor at the beaters, shutter, shaft levers. The Pi read the rhythms and the AI read meanings. It neither does both. And the reason why we put a sensor at a specific location is because to detect this primary movement within the flow of the weaving. So basically we have these three sensors and it's split into different tiers. If you only meet the beat rhythm, it's only unlock embodiment. Whereas when you meet the beat and rhythms and the shuttles or shaft, you unlock more pattern memory. But if you meet all the pattern, you unlock irregular pattern. And there are some navigation rules within the visuals. And one gratitude is supposed to be a structure that evolves over time. Even doesn't matter what AI suggests, the weaver also have the authority to stop, to change the pattern, to ask for the easier or deeper pattern always. And this is the front end where the user seeing on the loom. And this is what's going on behind the scene. Oh.
What does it mean to be here? In the rhythm of your own hands. Before anything unfolds, you speak. Welcome. Take a slow breath and notice how your body feels. When you are ready, you can say something you feel grateful for.
I am thankful for my family.
You've named your family, a treasure in your life. You might feel their love in everyday moments too. How is your body feeling right now? And how would you like to be held today?
My body is feeling tense. I'd like to take my time today.
You feel grounded, wanting gentle holding. We begin at the breath. The loom listens to your presence as rhythm. Over, under, over, under. A rhythm emerges. When you drift, it softens. When you settle, it deepens. A quiet conversation between body and structure. Your hands have found something steady here. See if you can let your hands open to something a little wider. When you are ready, let the next rhythm find you. And what remains is not just pattern, but a trace of time. The gratitude loom, a ritual instrument for weaving presence.
Thank you very much. I'm special thanks to my local mentor, Luis, and my cohort, including my global mentor as well. Thank you very much. Oh,
Amazing, Barbara.
thank you.
Where are you working on this? Where are you based in the world? Can I start there?
In my own room.
Yes. Which city does your room happen to be in though? Because it's I see a lot of what I know from Simon Fraser and from University of Washington in this, and so I'm wondering if you're on the West Coast because this is pretty amazing. You know, I'm wondering how you got here because it's got some cute concepts.
Yeah, actually, the reference that you gave me, both of them influenced me a lot. But also, I was recommended by my cohort Maddie to just taste the actual experience on the loom, and that really drive the whole concept from that experience.
Amazing. Yeah, I know you've got temporalities, you have slow design, slow games, this slow interaction, that you have to slow it down in order for it to work, which is just deeply fantastic and deeply moving. The AI is slightly creepy, but it should be slightly creepy
Yeah.
because AI is slightly creepy. And so you've nailed that really in a really beautiful way as well, which can be deeply appreciated. And I think the thing I really like about it is the weird technology relation gives just a really beautiful physical, tangible piece at the end, something you can really touch and really embrace. And that slowness really has worked out really wonderfully. And yeah, wow. Um, you probably need to look at Christina Anderson's Crafts Machine Ship at this point, even to move it even more forward, because you're deeply engaged in that process that she talks about. And I think, yeah, I think you've got your deeply own interpretation of it. And I think you have something to write about there that needs to be shared with others as to what that experience is and how that experience is shaping and what you're doing with that. So keep going with it, and yeah, I'd love to talk to you more about what does it mean to live with it and to live with it for an extended period of time. You know, this has been a brief time period, which Fabricademy always is, but you know, taking that to the next level as to what does it mean to have this in your life for significant periods of time would be really, really interesting. And if you wouldn't mind documenting some of that as you go forward, if you keep up with it, love to talk to you about what it's turning into and how you interpret it now versus how you interpret it in 6 months from now.
Definitely. Thank you very much.
Well done. Lots of hard work.
Thank you.
I feel also that it opens a lot of questions, Troy, like this craftsmanship assisted AI, AI assisted craftsmanship, whether will be kind of like a new motivation or an engine to bring people back to craft. It can open a lot of different conversations, this project, and it's definitely a good also exercise for you or Portla to see how you can academically open this discussion to maybe kind of like and I am just also impressed with the aesthetic outcome of it as well. Like integrated design and making. But yeah, I don't know. How do you feel, Troy, about bringing this duality between AI and craft back at home, let's say, and of course the meditative part of craft, and the meditative craft of digitization, yeah.
Well, because everything AI craft is about, let's speed it up, let's make it faster, let's, you know, higher, harder, further, faster. And this is doing the exact opposite. That meditative aspect of it is saying, let's slow it down. I mean, I would almost want to see the AI go even slower and have it be slow speaking and have it take its time and do everything that an AI is not supposed to do. And to engage at that level with an AI of this AI is actually taking me to a more Zen state instead of putting me into the crazy freneticness that it usually puts me into would be genius. And yeah, something for a conference like Designing Interactive Systems, they would love it. They would eat this up.
And also, like, I imagine it in an exhibition where it can really cause frustration to people, or it can cause indeed a moment of isolation and meditation. So it can really bring different feelings. I think you nailed it, Portla, and congratulations for your work.
Thank you.
And congratulations for your new adventure after Fabricademy as well. And we will follow the presentation with Nate.
Hello, can you hear me?
Hello.
Okay, I'm just sharing. Right. First, the video.
Is there sound?
Yes, there's sound. Can you not hear the sound? Okay.
No.
One sec. Share settings. Share with sound. Yeah, it's all says. What do you think? Okay, let me minimize. Oh, stop sharing. Okay, okay. Mhm. Yeah. Oh, there we go. Okay. Okay. Share. Thanks. Thanks all. Right. Sorry, guys. Okay, let's start again. Right. Sorry. Beginning. Okay, so hi everyone. My project is called Theseus Ship, and it is derived from the story of the hero Theseus and his continuation of his heroism through his ship. And this has been translated into a capsule collection accessories capsule collection. So the concept is identity, and as you saw in the video, it's a question of, is identity defined by our composition, or is it shaped through change? Is it fixed, or does it unfold as it continues to evolve? So in the collection, there's 3 pieces, and all pieces are derived by the same thinking process of inception, gestation, the actual hero of the story, and also the identity. So the form development for the first piece is based on continuity and the ship itself and identity as a concept. So here is my process. And in this, I was trying to work with leather through CNC molding and also crafting. So it's a hybrid material system. And here you can see the steps of how I got to where I ended up in the end. So a little bit of the prototyping, the STL files, and the CNC molding, and the testing that I did. Here's some of the first tests that I did with the leather. And according to different timings of soak, I was able to get different results. In the end, the results, my first try was a smaller bag, and then I switched it around and used a different type of leather, which was a bit thicker, and ended up with a more clear look to what I was trying to achieve. I also used onion skin natural dye to dye the leather that I was using, because with the soaking, the leather was turning a little bit darker, which I really liked the color. So I wanted to match the rest of the bag with that, and I used onion skin to do that. For craft, as you saw with the prototyping, it was a lot of trial and error. But in the end, this was the final piece, which I wanted to embody both the concept of the boat of Theseus, this ship, and also identity as a concept. I made a dust bag for the bag because you need a good dust bag if you got a good bag. So the inspiration came from the sandy shores of which is all derived from the story of the ship and the paradox of the heroism. And I used the onion dye on silk to come up with this effect that I wanted to seem like sandy shores. And of course, with drying, it lost a little bit of color, but it was still quite good. Yes, and this is some digital mock-up of how it would be worn on the runway with a little bit of pirate look. The next piece was based on identity as evolving. And as you can see, the 4 steps of inception, gestation, thesis, and identity, and the mood. This material system was also a hybrid because it's biocomposition plus a little bit of 3D printing. So this was my final recipe after a lot of tries. The digital process, the 3D printed mold, which was very helpful in terms of trying to get the actual results that I was searching for. The casting process, so as you can see, it didn't always start too well, and I did a lot of different mixings and to find the best kind of results. In the end, the winning result was the mixed seashells with glycerin and gelatin, distilled water, and a little bit of drops of food coloring, which went really, really well. And also the carbon was a really good piece as well, but the glasses did not survive, unfortunately. Yeah. So I used onion skin to finish the glasses. So those green ones became these ones that kind of look like wood. And then also added the onion skin ink into the mixture to see what we would achieve. And this is my colleague Angelica wearing the glasses. We were really excited to see that we could actually get them to work. Of course, this did not last. and we were too excited and it ended up breaking. So we went and made a new mold, which was a little bit thicker and bigger, so that we could come up with to see if we could actually get it to work. So this is how I dry it on a round surface, just to round it over the face. And we ended up with some frames that actually worked. So that was quite cool. I went a little bit further to try and figure out how I could get the glass area of the glasses. I was trying to use bioresin to do this. Came up with a couple of different techniques to do it with, some with color, some without color, just experimenting to see what could happen. These are the results that I managed to get, and still work in progress on that. Yes. And the material system, the last one was based on post-consumer and its surface. So the form development is based on transformation from evolve. So for this as well, the inception is the decaying of the ship. The gestation is changing the surface. Theseus, of course, is always the what brings it all together. And the identity is this illusion. So the post-consumer leather started off just a little bit worn out, but still in a good shape and with a one-tone color. And the laser engraving was based on the planks of the ship. This is the results that we got from laser engraving and getting the surface to change. Of course, with the unevenness of the post-consumer product itself, it didn't all come as one smooth printing or engraving. So, and I went again with the dye just to bring it all together. And this worked really well in trying to blend the color in and make it all one piece. And here's just a mock-up. In the end, Theseus ship is almost like a toolkit with all these pieces together as one and all based on the same storyline. And thank you very much. Sharing.
If I can find that mute button, I'm really loving the upscaled leather. That's really well done. Two questions. Can I just start there? Because it's yeah. First of all, really good work. Really enjoy the friction involved. Really love how you're getting to a defined system of making these things. You have an aesthetic that really does express what you are and what you're doing. But I have so many technical questions as well, so we'll jump into those really quick. Did you try defocusing the laser a little bit inside of the last bag? Because that can really help. You're not going to get your sharp optical lines there, but given that you're going for wood graining as an effect anyways, I think you can get there. That said, there's fiber lasers out there that in fashion, they'll scan the surface really rapidly and then they'll work with the circuit height no matter what they are. So know that the processes you're using here can be very different when you get, if you want to move it more towards a manufacturing process. But yeah, defocusing the laser there would have been really interesting. So I'm wondering how focused the laser was on that process.
Well, what we did was first we tried it on just normal leather to see what would happen. And that was really, like, it came out really good. And then with this one, because of all the bumps, on some parts it was really, really good. And then some other parts it was kind of not showing as much. But no, we didn't try any different settings to see whether we just went on the same setting the whole time. But this is really insightful. I will definitely keep that in mind for future trials with this. Yeah.
And then just know that if you're going to go into if you're like at Denim City in Amsterdam, they have a fiber laser, so you can just take jeans in, no matter what their heights are, pockets, whatever on the top. It does just a really rapid scan and it burns your image into it, no matter what height differential you're looking at. So know that there's ways of moving that forward within production manufacturing that could really optimize that. Still loving the first bag. I love how you reworked the handle a little bit in this version. I think you did a really fantastic job there. And I really love how you changed the presentation. The presentation today for me was really nailing it because you had a lot of the samples already ready to go, but you really took it to another level with the presentation today. And I love like the image showing it on the fashion model really does take it to the next level of okay, it's not an easy bag. It's a bag that has some angles to it. It's supposed to be a hero's journey, so it's supposed to be that, living with a friction. So this is a friction-like garment, as much design is. And putting it in that context, though, shows that as you live with it, how it will change and develop and how it'll turn into something. So really good job. Way to struggle with the glasses. I know how hard that is. I think you did a great job there. I would love to see you next. Also try to do the internal frames and take it to an optician and see if you can get real frames there. But I love how you're putting in new frames as well and trying to develop that. That's non-trivial. But also when they started making glasses in the 1100s, they had to hand grind all of their own glass anyways. So you're really just in that kind of scene. So well done. I really like that.
Thank you so much.
Great job today.
Yes, actually, congratulations also for changing the the storytelling and the narration and bringing it all together. That was a real like a big change into weaving together something that can define better your identity. Actually, for the glasses, I was thinking you can even no need to design the interior. Maybe you buy the glass before and you put them before it's dry. So it dries together and shrinks and holds the glass at the same time if it is more very complicated. But which product do you think that you would like to go further with and more towards commercialization?
I honestly, I didn't really think of that, and I have to be honest. I suffered the most with the glasses. Enjoyed the molding leather the most, and the one that was more straightforward and ready like this was the laser. So I'm not necessarily tied to each one more than the other, but my favorite definitely is the first bag.
Yeah, and I would encourage you because there are very, very few brands that they do leather molding. You have them all in the presentation of the Textile Scaffold Week, of course. But I would encourage you because there is space for you there.
Well, that's nice to know because I learned about leather molding at Fabricademy. I've never used it before, so I really, really enjoyed it.
Great, thank you, Day. Congratulations. And how was the perception of your outcomes for your master program also at Marangoni?
Well, I was a little bit different from everyone else, but that was a good thing. And they really, 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 really enjoyed it. And I got a good grade and I'm really happy about that. So I'm very thankful to everyone.
Okay, great. Thank you.
News, by the way. I'd love to see Marangoni senior things. Good job.
Thank you so much.
And we go for last but not least, Alex.
Hello.
Hello.
Okay, is that showing up? Okay. Welcome to my fish garden project, A Suspended Sea of Mobiles. This is an educational workshop, design and implication. And these first pictures are from the mobile tryout that you'll see a video of in the end. So I've got two problem statements. My environmental problem statement is that Our current production model of disposable fashion and single-use plastic, which is polluting our oceans, makes no sense environmentally nor ethically. And then I also have a statement on students who crave more hands-on creative engagement in an educational system focused on standardized testing. My solution is for students to learn about sustainability through creating balanced ecosystem mobiles that include fish using recycled materials treated with bioresin. These are a couple of pictures of students interacting with the project right away. I was literally putting the mobiles together and some students magically showed up to help, and then some staff people stopped by and started helping putting them together. So it's kind of fun that collaborative spirit showed itself right from the beginning. Why are there fish on a mobile? This is my ceramics teacher from high school, Marika Van Buchem. I went to visit her at her home in Delaware, and she had fish popping out from all of the boxwoods. And somehow my imagination was spurred. I've kind of never gotten over it. I love seeing two things that didn't really fit together, and I've been sort of thinking about that idea ever since. Why fish? Another reason, they connect our planet. Everyone has fish in their lives. They share our environmental global challenges. They are taking in bioplastics as we are. And in creating art, their shape is simple and endlessly variable. This is my fish arm from our Digital Bodies project that I painted. In terms of a personal connection to the project, another one, I am hoping to morph my career and do collaborative environmental art. I've been a costume designer. I've run the costume shop at Vanderbilt University. I've taught in the fine art department. I'm now teaching in the mechanical engineering program, wearable product design class, teaching soft goods at the Wondry Center for Innovation at Vanderbilt. And I think as I've morphed, the idea of working on collaborative environmental art projects is very appealing to me. So in running the garden project workshop, I will teach about statistics around single-use plastic and polyester. So I've pulled a few. Some global statistics annual include 350 million tons of plastic waste being produced, 14 million tons of plastics entering our oceans, 92 million tons of textile waste produced. Synthetic textiles are one of the largest sources of microplastics in our world's waterways. So I hope to teach students a lot about sustainability through running this project. I also plan to teach them about the circular economy. We all know that it's hard to create a circular design. Once it's been designed, it has to be designed into the process of designing and making. And then I've asked my students, what if we never threw anything away? Just to try to get them thinking differently about a very disposable world that we live in. I have been and plan to continue teaching about sourcing secondhand materials. This is taking one of my art classes to the Goodwill bins in Nashville, Tennessee, and they were just overwhelmed by the textile waste stream. We brought a ton of stuff back, and they spent this semester recycling things into different design projects. In terms of turning trash into treasure, I've already incorporated this idea into my project. This is a pair of overalls being made into a fish by one of my students. And then I've made the mobiles by recycling materials. So the dress and the lampshade became one of the mobiles that's in the project. I plan to teach about reimagining single-use plastic. In this case, I've used a heat gun in order to take plastic bottles and make them into fish. And here is a lesson workshop kit. In teaching this, I'll have an educational slide deck. This is a kit that could go to a place and be taught and implemented in educational settings with a slide deck on some of the information that I just showed, a slide and handout of fish to draw from, drawing materials, recycling materials, scissors and pins, Sharpies, acrylic markers, bioresin materials and supplies, and things to hang these mobiles from. So I think this would be pretty simple to implement. So in terms of getting ready for the workshop, I've been sort of obsessed with bioresin. I used to work as a fabric dyer, so I've really different things in bioresin, and adding colors has been a lot of fun. So I took denim and laced it and added the bioresin in on cookie sheets, let them dry, and laser cut a few of the fish, and then in another case, hand cut them and let them dry naturally. So that idea between how bioresin dries, if you control it versus natural, I've been very intrigued by. These are some more bioresin samples made into fish with sort of trash added in and gold leaf, turkey wrapper. And then on the bottom left, these are leather strips and tulle dipped in bioresin and shaped over some molds that I made. Pants and more denim on the bottom two right images treated with bioresin, and then also on the right, green gold leaf. These are circles that I made so that students could take them and create an ecosystem. At the top, I've got sky, I've got suns. The center fish is designed by one of my students, and then green at the bottom, and some bug patches added into some of those bioresin circles. I've run a couple of workshops to test out the ideas. I've worked with some fifth graders in a program for talented youth about sustainability. So the fish at the bottom with words written are made by my fifth graders. And then in my mechanical engineering class this semester with mostly engineering students called How to Make Almost Anything and Make It Matter. I've run the workshop. They've designed a fish. I asked them if they wanted things to dry naturally or in a more controlled way, and they all put a Post-it on their fish, and so they wanted the fish to dry naturally and kind of see what happened to them. Here is my bioresin recipe for people to use. And then I have some workshop feedback here. This is the whole group outside where we put the mobiles. Yu Yang said, making the denim fish allowed me to apply what I learned about reuse and material transformation directly. I contributed to a larger collective piece, which reflects how individual actions can come together to support sustainability. I really love this project. Ishita said, being able to turn waste into memorable art is a part of sustainability. And Delaney said this project brought an opportunity to appreciate creativity and beauty. When you see the video, it was almost like a hurricane came through with the wind. We took the stuff outside. I've got a quick sketch of some other iterations of how I would like some of these mobiles to hang. I've been in touch with a friend of mine who teaches English in South Carolina who would love to run this project perhaps through an art happening this summer. She's a writer, and I would love to include other skills. People could laser cut biomaterials. I think you could light up the fish with LEDs and circuits. And my friend's an English teacher, so I think students could write about environmental issues, and those could hang as part of the mobiles. The video is a test run of the project with my students in the mechanical engineering class engaging in it. So hopefully my video is going to run. Okay, let's see. Defining characteristics and believable as a fish. That's beautiful. I like that. Hang on the trees, and they all have hooks so that we can fit them over the branches. They're adjustable. The green is earth, the blue is sky. This is bioresin. These are suns. So if you want a sun in your ecosystem,
I'm quite happy.
Pretty basic of your bioresin fish. I like mine.
Yeah.
Does yours have sparkles?
It's tough.
Yeah, I know. This is like sparkles on it.
Whoa, this is missing. Into that. Oh, the beetle. Good. We'll make you a custom length. This is pretty. Okay. Those I used for the gloves.
Lucky has aura. No, it doesn't. It's all gravitational pull, guys.
Pretty. Yeah, this one's pretty. Look at this one.
Wait. What branch? That one. Top left. Word.
So thank you to Fabricademy project mentors who've helped me move a long way from the beginning to this final project idea, to my remote colleagues, to Louise for helping so much, and to friends and colleagues at Vanderbilt, and also my students.
Good job, Alex. I really love the level of material engagement that you've gotten people to engage with here. It's not easy to work with biomaterials, and finding a way for them to get interested in them is to start using them is the hardest part. So you're really tackling that horribly named fuzzy front end, as they like to say in design theory. And how do we get into that levels of engagement that are really needed? I love how the fish and how expressive they are, and how you're working with things that tend to be liquid, and you're really getting them to use it as a metaphor to really build some things very easily that makes sense given the materiality that you're dealing with, and that helps them understand the materials in a first person sort of way. What we would call at the university here in Eindhoven challenge-based learning. So they're solving challenges and they're really digging deep into the physical aspects of it instead of having to study anything in a book. What I really find interesting there is the laser cutting that you mentioned. I think there's something really fun there, especially when you're looking at, say, kombuchas or anything that has a semi-gelatinous state before it dries out. Good luck getting your laser person to let you do it, but we do it a lot. Like when we laser cut leather, like when we're laser cutting leathers, we soak them, we get them really wet so that they don't burn as much. It's more of a layer, like a water jet, because you're getting the steam instead of getting char. So I would really look deeply into how do you do that laser cutting on the semi-wet, the half-dried bio resins, and kind of it would be really fun to do an experiment down there as to how dry are they and what kind of laser results you get, because you're going to get different effects and different edge conditions and different things popping up there. I think it would be beautiful and interesting. And yeah, keep going with it. It's very cool stuff, and I love how you're engaging multiple layers with it in terms of like fifth graders, but also university students. So well done.
Thank you.
Alex, it was so nice to see you in action in the video, because we can imagine like what is your daily work and how you disconnect from that and you connect to the global Fabricademy community. But it was so nice to see you actually in action in the video, to get immersed into your environment. I like the fact that you already think of how you can replicate the project into other locations. I think like there is infinite there. Actually, when you said about the integration of light, I thought about the studio that we had been running for many years in the previous work that I was at Pablo Barcelona, which was to hack machines that they are from the trash. So actually you could indeed embed this kind of finding lighting or electronics that they come from trash and repurposing those so that it can continue on the same line, that you only work with waste or like with unused resources, because the concept of waste actually needs to disappear.
of course, when Troy said about like laser cutting semi-wet materials, my eyes were blinking because if you actually laser cut patterns like these, when it dries, they will open because they will fall. When they will dry, they will deform. So you can use these semi-dried materials, laser cut them, and then they will, as they dry, they will be deforming, creating more of these scales or more like detail. There was also another artist that I got like encapsulating different ways using the property of the bioplastic as if it was glass. You know, when we have this glass and we put objects inside like miniatures. So you can use this property of the biomaterial to show these encapsulations of trash. So there is a lot there. I think that, and you can always reuse those because you can remelt them and then reuse them, and it is worth actually doing this process so to show to the world that there is a loop and it doesn't go the end is not there. I can reuse it, recycle all the gelatin and remake new things, no? So very, very nice. I'm very happy that you brought it up, this project in the reality of your context and how you involve the different stakeholders. Now it makes a lot more sense for everyone. And it was great to finish with your presentation today.
Thank you very much.
It is also a call, no, for more people maybe to contribute, because it's something that stay there, but at the same time is open. So it invites everyone around.
Yeah, it can be more like a participatory art piece. I also put a link to a work in the chat that is worth looking into, very similar to what you're doing.
Thank you. The idea is that it would be in like a museum setting or an aquarium, and it would be in a something that was held there, and kids could come back and look at how bioresin had perhaps dried what they made. And there was just no space on campus I could find to hang these things, which is why we went outside. But that would be the idea, something that would grow and change as people made things to contribute.
Very nice. And I think that this is the end of our session for today. Thank you, Troy, for your very nice feedback. And thanks, everyone, for all the work and the projects that you have developed. And we know that these projects, they show actually all the commitment that you will be continuing doing similar research and similar applications. And we will continue our final presentations. Tomorrow is our last day. So please join to give feedback to your peers and also celebrate the end of the course tomorrow. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Troy, and safe flights.
Wonderful work, everyone. Keep it up.
Great job, everyone.